it's 50 million Zooms a day.
It is probably one of the things that I worry about most. I mean, I think at all of our companies, we think about the culture and we think about the team, and so it's been a journey. And I think where we're at right now, and it may be a little different as we compared notes yesterday, but we have about 50% of the team that's in the office. Um, at 3 to 4 days a week, and almost 90% of our team who is in the office at some point during the week. So we've been flexible, but really have found that we're shifting towards the flexibility, but not the full remote. And we found that that's working best for engagement, for our culture. Even though we can't all get in a room together and we're still on calls, um, there is there is still that personal interaction that you're seeing people that you're working with, and quite frankly, it is a little bit of an escape from being at home, right? It's not like we're out doing lots of fun things. If you're not here, you're at home, and so I think that's been big. We've done a lot of virtual events. I think that that's been a bit tired, right? So it worked well at first, but people, so we're trying to reinvent those at this time to keep the team engaged, and really, just trying to support the team, understanding that right now there's not just the stress of how on fire our market is, right? So there's increased volumes for us all, but the additional stresses with COVID, and the number of people impacted by COVID is just tremendously sad, and so that's a lot on people. The whole childcare, school is another thing. So trying to put things in place that can support our team is really where we focus. But I think it's a challenge that we definitely haven't solved, and I'm excited to hear from Dan and John.
John, how are you guys keeping people engaged?
Well, we probably have a little bit steeper hill to climb because Taylor Morrison's taken a very conservative approach. So we've had at no point in time have we had anywhere close to 20% of our office staff in the office at any one time. And that's really been by a corporate mandate to be very individual to the circumstances. And uh, really surprising how well and how quickly we adopted to that. But I am equally concerned to what Nicole said is that really, the culture build occurs in this industry. This is not a user manual industry. We all know it's very nonlinear, it's very interactive, and it's very much dependent on, I think, upon the creative hallway conversations that occur without being planned. And now that everything's really on a Zoom call and it's being planned that way, it's just disappointing that we don't get to a lot of the unscheduled or unagendized items. That's probably one of my biggest concerns is that those conversations aren't happening. Ironically, people function differently, as we all know, but some people have thrived at the work from home because it's provided a greater sense of their convenience, and that's been very good for them. And we haven't seen a huge drop off in productivity, so that's been equally reassuring. The character of the people that we have.
Absolutely. I don't know if last year we were opening projects that I think most of us had done the planning around the table over the blueprints, really able to dig in and engage. Now, I don't know about you guys, we're now opening projects that we planned via Zoom. And I thought I was gonna have a seizure because you get these, I'll say younger people that are like zooming between the different screens. I'm like, I don't know where in the project, I feel like I'm having a seizure. I'm seeing all these plans, like it's so different in this little screen, rather than having our big sets laying out and being able to lean around and measure. I think everybody misses that tactile thing. So I want to kind of pivot real quick. And speaking of pivots, I'm going to toss this to you, Dan. now that things are changing, like what strategic pivots is your company making during this time? What are you guys planning to do differently when it comes to buying property or land acquisition? What's next?
It's a great question. You know, we give a lot of time and energy to thinking about it. We've had a lot of time to think, you know, as we've been stuck, some of us in our offices, you know, by ourselves, left with our own thoughts. You know, we're just looking forward. You know, we're in Southern California as it compares to the rest of the nation. It's a very, very high cost place to do what we do. And, you know, the entry point for our homeowners is getting higher and higher. And we don't see that changing at all. So, you know, I think it's reinforced our focus and desire to find entry level, you know, opportunities. And, you know, as we talked yesterday, it was refreshing to hear, you know, John talk a little bit about that as well. And that, I mean, that's the holy grail. We love to build homes for families. We want to get people into home ownership. That's what we live, and that's what really gets us, you know, up in the morning. And so what that's done as we focus on affordability, you know, in especially in California, which is still trending pretty well, all things considered, you know, it's just helped pour a little more gas on the fire for us, you know, developing in other states. We entered several new markets as a company last year out of California. And so we're planning to still aggressively pursue that and enter probably 2 to 3 new markets in the Western United States a year. At the same time, you know, we're just focusing very closely on specific opportunities that allow us to kind of bring that average sale price down. And, you know, we're stretching a little more for those opportunities and feel that we can meet that great need, even with people leaving. You hear the headlines, people leaving Southern California or leaving California. You know, I think the rest of you guys on here would agree that's very, very small in consideration of the thousands of people leaving downtown LA and flooding Santa Clarita, you know, where we're based and have a very large development here just north of 5 Points, Newhall Ranch. And so we're really excited to keep focusing on those entry level opportunities. I think with the excitement in the market, something interesting for us that's, you know, an advantage where we compete in SoCal with all these wonderful publicly traded home builders that you know, have awesome capabilities and a much lower cost of capital, is we're creating very unique partnerships with landowners. You know, so whether we're allowing a landowner to come along for the ride with us and benefit in the outcome of a home building operation, and so that's been something that's been very successful for us. It's a way that we've acquired and are bringing, you know, another 1,000 lots in northern LA and Ventura counties, you know, out of the ground in the next year through some of those kind of more strategic partnerships with landowners and being creative in the deal structure and just trying to make sure we can still grow and meet the immense demand. So that's what we're doing and kind of how we're looking at things. So, you know, balancing lots of growth. I mean, we're just growing like crazy out of state, but still, you know, looking how do we bring relevant opportunities to Southern California, and us not being in Orange County, you know, and trying our best to stay away from Orange County. You know, we're focusing all around Orange County and still making things happen. So.
Great. If you don't mind sharing with the team, where did you guys enter? What markets did you enter last year? I won't ask you about the confidential stuff this year.
Oh, no problem. So we entered Austin, Texas in the last year, and we entered and finished our first opportunity in Boise, Idaho last year, and we have some things in pre-development in Utah and Montana. In Montana, we've already actually been, we're just expanding more markets within Montana. So more cities within Montana, and our footprint's growing pretty rapidly there. It's amazing how many people are, maybe they'll change their mind when they see the -30 below zero temperatures they're having today. But for now, it's fun. It's a lot of fun building homes in the snow.
They haven't made it through a whole cycle yet, the whole season. So yeah, I think everybody on this call knows at least one person who's either moved to Utah, Arizona, Montana, Idaho, or Texas. But like you said, we have had quite a few folks migrating back in. Sure. We just wrote a contract from Houston, Texas, which I thought everybody was going that way, but there's definitely a lot of migration movement right now. John, what about you guys? Big company, what's on the horizon for the land acquisition side for you?
Well, as the audience knows, I mean, it turned into from a pause early in 20 to a urgency come summer of 20. I think really the key issue, and it hasn't really changed. It's really about a value add approach to land acquisition. I mean, clearly, we're all challenged to do that. We look for different opportunities and try to add value in different ways. So it's not a formula based system. We have really like three very distinctive pillars to feed the pipeline that is sizable for Southern California. This should be about a 900 unit to 1,000 unit division on an annualized basis, and we almost achieved that last year, even in a COVID world where February and March were not necessarily all that positive. But from an acquisition standpoint, don't have a uniform answer to how that's done. We have a couple of things internally that we do procedurally that try to attend to sellers' needs. Clearly, that's a part of the equation that we all have to be sensitive to, since, as Dan mentioned, it's about relationships. Our business probably isn't totally relationship centered, but that's part of it, with part of the master plans and some of the other larger landholders. But to get that kind of volume, we're spread out over the 5 counties of Southern California. We've kind of left Ventura alone for now, and Northern LA, we left that to Dan. He's doing a great job up there. Don't want to compete with him. So back to you, Dan. Us ugly publics don't want to deal with the privates either. But that's where we are.
Well, good. Well, secretly, I'm asking this question just to gather intel from all three of you.
I avoided it pretty
too much.
distinctly.
Thanks, Dan. I'm working on you, John. So Nicole, you're in the hot seat. Share with us.
John did a good job of avoiding that question. He talked about the 3 pillars, but he didn't tell us what they are. So we should probably go back to that. So I think for us, we are actually not a publicly traded company. And so while we have goals for growth, we really have the number one goal that we have is what fits our strategy. And so if there's 100 deals that fit our strategy and we have a competitive advantage on, we can go after that. If there's not a lot of deals that really where we have our competitive advantage, our strategy is not to go stretch to bring those deals in. And I think we can all attest to the very, very competitive market right now on the land ac side, and the very low supply of entitled and finished lots in Southern California. And so I think where our focus is really on deals that we can go in and entitle. Maybe they have some environmental cleanup needed. So our advantage is not on the, our competitive advantage is not on the finished lot side necessarily. And so we're really looking for those deals where we can go in and I think Dan and John both touched on it, but go in and add value. But looking at that, and honestly, I think, for many, many years, Brookfield was known in Southern California as a higher end builder, and we've really transitioned in looking to have more attainability in our offerings, and so really mixing everything from attainable price points up to the 1 million plus, but not an equal spread of that.
Great, thank you. So we know Brookfield is going after the dirty sites, Dan's going after the relationships with the seller, and John has 3 pillars that he refuses to share with us. So There you guys go. Everybody heard it here. Let's see what they close escrow on this year and get announced on. We'll be watching John. We'll figure that out by the end of the year. So, well, good. Thank you. You know, Nicole, you had also mentioned, well, and a shameless plug here, Landsea is now a publicly traded home builder on the NASDAQ stock exchange, and we are definitely in that growth. And it's hard, as you guys mentioned, it is a very, very competitive market. We're all running through our lots a lot quicker than any of us anticipated. I know we did not anticipate the number of sales we had. I'm like, oh, now we're public. Now you have to keep certain things quiet. It's been a crazy market, and those extreme sales that we are facing has created a different type of challenge. 2018, interest rates went to 4.5. We had our builder perspective, talked about the challenges, and the number one answer was interest rates. That's not our challenge right now. So what is our challenge in this market, Nicole? What are your thoughts on that?
So I think it's supply, lot supply, definitely, you know, and really the resale supply. People, it appears, are much more comfortable buying a new home right now. Obviously, there's more new homes on the market, and this may be a shift to more new home demand as we look at one of the changes from COVID that might stick with us. But I think the supply of lots is pushing the pricing, the supply of resale homes on the market pushing pricing, lack of supply, I should say, on those two. So I think that is a concern. But what we're seeing in our product array is people are just moving to the home they can afford, and so I think that's why it's really important that we continue to provide housing that is a little denser than our region may have typically wanted. And I think that we can attest to people aren't leaving just for big homes, right? They're leaving for other things, and there's a lot to still keep people in Southern California. So I really think just that lack of supply across the board is one of the biggest things that is a hindrance. It's really great on price increases and volume now, but longer term, you know, we know, I think we would all agree that at some point that will lead to some sort of hiccup.
Absolutely. Right when COVID hit and everybody withdrew their offers, we all should have kept charging forward, right? We all backed out of land acquisitions, and the land sellers stopped developing lots, stopped spending money, and now we're all like, dang it, we need 6 more weeks of like catch up. So lot supply is for sure. John, you mentioned the challenges yesterday on our call when we were kind of planning this, and it really touched home because it was about why we do this. It's about the customer. You had mentioned some challenges. Do you mind sharing those with us?
Yeah, I think it's what we're doing right now, and which is replicating what we really want to do, which is have a relationship with our customers, and that's probably been the biggest challenge. And this is a perfect audience to talk about it too, because a lot of the people online here are front, dead and center to the relationship to our customers. Obviously, along with operations people and warranty people, but it starts with sales, and that's where the relationship's built. And salespeople are salespeople for a big part of that. They like the relationships that they build with customers, and that's been missing. And I think it's kind of like an unquenched thirst for those people. So if you take it that one step further, and we can't really get together as a group and do a lot of the social interaction that they would normally thrive on, and celebrations of customers, getting the keys to their house. A lot of that's been put in the parking lot, and I it concerns me. I hope that's not our long-term approach to this. But the well-being of our sales and our interaction people, let's call it that, to put all of those people in the same bundle, that's been a concern and something we pay attention to. And there's unfortunately just not enough time in the day to make up for the lack of field visits to, with a phone call or a Zoom meeting. They're just not the same.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Dan, I'm going to toss this question over to you, and then I'm going to open it up for questions from the audience because they're tired of me asking questions. But Dan, what do you think the challenges in this market are that we're facing?
Specifically, as we look at SoCal and, I compare it, I do get to spend a decent amount of time, even during COVID, traveling around and looking at our new markets. I just see the supply was already a big problem, and it's getting further pressure now by the market, demand and driving prices up. And it is unfortunate, I echo what John said, yesterday, that it feels terrible to price people out. You have people on a waiting list that, that's why we do this. And we want to bring these people the opportunity to have a home. And, at the same time, all the pressures around us driving costs up and having to push on the revenue side, it's a bummer. But as we look at SoCal specifically, the biggest challenge, and unfortunately, I don't think there's anything to change it, is just the unfriendly attitude towards helping us create unique solutions, to lot supply. I mean, we're essentially out of business in the city of Los Angeles. It's the biggest dumpster fire I've ever seen, with how they treat creative solutions to housing. We're one of the biggest metros in the entire world. And we just, as a municipality, do a terrible job. And most of the other municipalities around it, you can't get out of their own way. So unless there's creative solutions to actually affect changes, to zoning, to urban planning, we're going to really struggle to bring reasonable housing stock. I mean, many of you guys probably saw, I forget which city it was that built these glorified tough sheds for the homeless. And I think they were $130,000 a piece is what Lance Williams, our owner, was telling me. And I was just disgusted. So I don't know if anything will or could change, and it's really sad. We essentially aren't building almost anything in the city of Los Angeles. And so I see that as our continued biggest challenge until we can all actually work together and not have it, municipalities take 20 years to update a piece of paper and just put a different zoning designation on it to unlock some of this. I really see us continuing, to struggle in core Los Angeles. It's in the greater metro area has 20 million people, and it's the most underserved market in all of the nation. So unless these cities realize that and do something different, I see that as our biggest challenge for Southern California. Prices will continue to go up, even if rates go up, because there's just too many people here for the housing stock we're able to put out there. Lance Williams' favorite saying is that the termites eat more homes than we get permitted, in the county of Los Angeles. So it's probably not true, but maybe it is. So that's just it. So if anyone here works for a municipality, I'm sorry, but I hope you guys change. And I hope that everyone actually can step up and, in our markets and help do something to affect change. Because unless something changes at that front end, it's going to continue to be a worse and worse challenge on the supply.
Thank you, Dan. Well, I will say, I think the word of the day is going to be dumpster fire for this group. That yesterday when we did our planning session, you had a very passionate speech, and I wasn't expecting that on today's call. So that was great. Love it. Dumpster fire it is.
Sorry about that.
No, I think everybody was like, yes. And that's really also going back to really getting involved with the BIA. And I think they've done a great job in the last couple of years, really focusing on that and trying to fight for us and get that legislative change. Last year's panel, SoCal president, Southern California division president, Richard Douglas from TrueMark, gave a very passionate speech. It was in person in January, I think, so before COVID, or February, and was really talking about the same situation. It's a huge issue in Southern California. We have a very challenging market, and all three of you hit on this market in general, just a huge issue we have. So thank you guys. What I'd love to do is let the audience ask a few questions. I think it'd be a great opportunity for them to provide some more questions. Let's see. So either you can raise your hand on a reaction emoji. You can try to raise your hand in the picture we'll be scanning through, or you can send it into the chat. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and give us a reaction. Anybody? Let's see, I think we're scanning. Laura, do you see anyone with questions?
Nope, I see.
No?
Hopefully my sounds better. Yeah, I'm new.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, oh, I see Janice down there, Janice Randazzo. Do you mind unmuting her real quick? And then Janice, you'll have to unmute yourself. Do you mind sharing your name and your company and then your question?
Janice, give me 1 second. I gotta get to you here.
She also said her 10-year-old is her IT department at home. So.
Yeah.
Janice,
yeah.
you can speak.
Thank you. So on the remote access, we've been toying with using the Enter Now. Are any of you guys using Enter Now on your remote access?
Yes.
And are you guys? I mean, I have some builders that have concern about that because they're worried about, you know, this. Well, obviously, you have to look at specific areas. Like we wouldn't do it in Hollywood because you never know who'd enter, but. Are you mostly doing that in non-urban areas, more suburban areas? Does anyone have any feedback of how that's working?
I would say we encourage our interested home buyers to experience our homes. So we tell them, hey, you want to come after hours and have a drink on the deck, you want to have dinner at the kitchen island or whatever you're going to do. We just ask that you be respectful. We're not afraid of it. We've done it in urban environments. I have had to talk other division presidents off the ledge, thinking that the homes are just going to be swarmed by drug addicts that will destroy it, and God forbid someone steals a pillow. So it's progress. You just we feel you got to do it. There'll be some issues along the way, but we're all about getting people in our homes. So.
Okay.
We have had some little things disappear, or maybe someone leaves some trash, and we just pay attention and, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I've talked to people in other markets that are having great success with it, but a lot of them are not as maybe urban as ours. So that, you know, was my main question, but you're having good success with it. So that's great. Thanks.
Thanks, Janice. Well, don't tell the interior designers that your pillow got stolen, because we know how expensive those things are, right? Let's see, we've got a couple. I think, Bill, did anybody want to raise their hand? Did I miss anybody on the screen?
I'm gonna unmute Sarah. Sarah, give me just a second.
And then I think. Sarah.
All right, Sarah, I just asked you to unmute, so you should be able to speak when you
Hi,
unmute.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Hi, guys. I put my question in the chat window, so I'll try and remember it. I'm just curious, with, you know, Dan, this question is more for you because of, I mean, I think all of the cities and counties in Southern California and California as a whole are really dealing with the same issues here. But with these general plan amendment blocks and city and county legislative and municipality issues, do you guys have any sort of like Project Greenlight in place up in LA County within our industry so that we can help support you better?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've gotten a fair amount of support. It's just, I mean, as long as there's public officials that will take two random neighbors that want to block something that's a by right entitlement, and you have, you know, someone that's going to weigh that over, you know, everyone else. I don't know what else we can do. I mean, the city of Los Angeles, even if we could get something approved, all of the legislation and, you know, ballot measures that have been passed to just saddle developers, you know, who obviously we're all just greedy and make so much money we can afford to pay unlimited fees, you know. But some of the things that have been passed, even if we could get something approved, there's a huge disconnect in what we'll pencil. you know, with once you add all of these things. I mean, I've only been in this industry for 14 years, and I swear in Southern California, it's 6 figures of, you know, cost add just in the way of in LA, in fees and new ballot measures and things that have been added on. So, and you wonder why, you know, people wonder why it's, you know, our median house price in Santa Clarita is over 700,000. So,
Yeah, thank you.
we're not afraid to ask for help. That's for sure. And the BIA has always been great.
Yeah.
Always been great to rally. And, you know, there's a lot of great people to rally behind it. It's just interesting. It almost seems like a lost cause in the city of LA right now, which is just really sad.
Thank you, Sarah, for your question. Laura, Jasmina has a question, but while you are unmuting her, I'm going to ask this one real quick. This is from Melissa Reese to Nicole. I'll start with Nicole. Do you think, or I'm sorry, to John, because it was based on his comment. Do you think remote and virtual agents will continue to be a valuable role post-COVID?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be, you know, it's probably similar to the trend that we saw. Oh, I can't put a date on it. I think I've been in the industry about 4 times longer than you said. So. Probably my math's a little bad, but I think it's here to stay, and it's primarily because the customers adapted to it, and it's not you know, whether it's distance, whether it's convenience, you know, people can really get a pre-screened opportunity. We didn't talk about it, but our capture rate across the board is pretty substantial compared to historic capture rates. You know, we used to be at, you know, a walk-in traffic at maybe a 1 or 2%. You know, our virtual appointments, we're at a 10% capture rate to sales. So that's probably why that stuff is going to stay.
Thank you. Let's toss it over to Jasmina. Jasmina, can you introduce yourself and your company?
I'm Jasmina with P11 Creative. I had a couple of questions flipped through, but first of all, I'm shocked Bill Watt didn't have a question. Always has a question. And then Dan, I just wanted to ask you, we have some, you know, in the unincorporated part of LA, you know, Gardena, et cetera, you see these places that are adapting and approving projects and all of that. So you're talking about specifically LA as a city, I think, which I can understand how challenging that might be. But we're seeing development in some really interesting places. So where have you given up on in the dumpster fire in LA? Just on, I know.
Well, LA County, yeah, LA County has 88 cities, right? So
right.
I think it's 88. So
and each one.
Yeah, so a lot of them are said dumpster fire. But yeah, absolutely, Gardena's getting things, you know, getting things approved, I guess. And, you know, Brookfield and Taylor Morrison probably have experienced this on a much broader scale. But as we move out of state and realize that, you know, where something's zoned and it's in the general plan reasonably, and we can get it approved and be under construction in 3 months, you know, and delivering much needed housing, you know, for families to meet the demand, you know, you get a little less tolerant of places where we have a very simple by right entitlement for 37 homes. That's 4 years in. And the only reason it's 4 years in is because they'll let 2 neighbors that want to ignore that the end of their street always said it was going to be extended, and, you know, then they just want to keep fighting it. As long as that's allowed to happen, it's just going to continue to be a struggle. I mean, that should be criminal.
It should.
You know,
and then just to Janice, a lot of our multifamily apartment buildings do use these types of things where you enter at will, and, you know, you have to provide an ID, et cetera, et cetera. So they've been doing that for a couple of years, actually.
Yeah, the multifamily operators really perfected the remote access a long time ago. We learned it pre-COVID, you know, from American Homes for Rent, engaging with their product in other markets. And it's just, if someone's going to give you their driver's license, you know, and all their info, and you know when they entered and when they left, there's not a whole lot to worry about.
Except for that pillow.
Except for that pillow. We all know all of our model homes have all sorts of funny business going on in them anyways, for any of you that have ever been in a model home complex long enough. I have, and I feel like I've seen quite the assortment of funny business going on.
Dan, this is a classy call. We don't talk about those things in our industry.
Kaylee, I requested Gretchen to unmute because she's got a question.
Okay, Gretchen.
And then Sean, I'll get to you after.
Hi, I'm Gretchen at Kovac Marketing, and kind of a question to all three of you relates to marketing, shock, and like your marketing budgets and foreseeing the future this year, next year, regarding marketing tools. We've all seen that websites now need to be just so much more advanced and high tech, and all of our virtual marketing tools. Is that something you have seen change? And what is a marketing tool that you might have implemented during COVID that is here to stay? I know we have, we'll probably use some of those tools, or we do provide them. So can you speak to that?
Thanks, Gretchen. I'll toss that to Nicole first.
So there was a lot packed in there, Gretchen. I'm going to pick one thing, and then the guys can pitch in as well. But I think I'm going to skip the budgets. I think, our business, to Dan's point, we're spending more on land and jurisdictional fees and processing. So we're trying to spend less everywhere else. But we are implementing a lot of new things. And I think what's here to stay for us is, the Matterport tours. And I think one thing that we didn't talk about earlier is just the whole digital suite of assets. And I think, we're evolving those to become more and more transparent, to really emulate other industries where you can find out almost everything you need to know on your own. And so I am not the best marketing person. I got fired from marketing a long time ago. So I'm not the best person to speak to those tools, but we are looking to enhance our digital assets further. And I think that's here to stay for us.
Thank you. John, what about you? Can you break down one of those questions in there?
Well, yeah, I think probably the biggest change, and I'm old enough to reflect upon it, because newspapers used to sell houses, believe it or not, is really the speed at which we can pivot. I think that's probably because information is so available and it's so expeditious that we can pivot our marketing dollars and our campaigns, if you want to call it that, to a more precise, target median. And I think that's probably the biggest change. So the more information specific to a marketing company, the more information you can bring to the table that's precisely targeted. It would be more of a, not to be rude, but sniper fire versus a shotgun blast. And I think, I grew up in the shotgun blast approach. So that's how I'd term that.
Thanks, John. What about you, Dan? Anything you'd like to add?
I mean, budget wise, I think we're almost have done no newspaper advertising, anymore. So I'm pretty excited about that. Sorry for any of our vendors, but most of them that sell newspaper space have pivoted to digital assets. Every time we think we're putting enough money into the different digital realms, whether it's, collateral from Matterport tours, different virtual or video assets, we always want to put more. So I think we're focusing more and more on spending money on video, and you just got to have the exposure. And so really some of it's organizational for us, where we're just trying to get as much data as possible, clearly and simply represented for the consumers. And so that's the battle we're going to continue to fight till we can almost answer every question, or they can find the information, at their leisure, before engaging with us, So that's where we're investing our time and energy. And I think the only other thing, on the marketing side we're investing in is we really want to be able to get someone all the way through the buy process in real time through the website. 100%.
Bailey, I've got Sean Henry up to speak, and then Rick, I'll get to you.
Perfect. Thank you. Sean, are you on mute?
No, I don't think I am, Kaylee. I'm in a Windstone Plan 3 right now. So, but I did want to, I think Gretchen kind of asked my question. I wanted to ask everybody how much AI, artificial intelligence, is playing in your marketing. And John, you kind of touched on it, but if anybody wanted to elaborate on it, that'd be great, because we're using it a lot more in what we're doing. And also, hello to everybody. I miss you all. I just want to say that too.
And I love that Sean's in a Windstone Plan 3 Lansing home. Yay! And that it goes back to that May 12th event with Atlas. And I will tell you real quick that we Lansing use Atlas, and it's been pretty amazing. So John, are you guys using any AI?
I'm not close enough to answer that question.
Fair.
Yeah, so I'd prefer to, not answer it than answer it wrong.
No problem. Too bad we couldn't get AI integrated into like warranty. There's so much more opportunity, I think, where it would be amazing if we could one day get to the point where a buyer request came in, the AI could figure out who needs to be notified, and we could speed that up and get it out to our vendors. But I think we'll also have to be bringing along the rest of the industry with us. Nicole, is there anything on the AI front you could share?
I could not tell you what system we're using, but we are incorporating AI and think that it will be a big part of the future of our business.
Great. Dan, chatbots, AI, anything going on at Williams?
Sure. Yeah, we had a great run with Atlas. They're a great company. I'm actually really excited to hear more about what they've done, because that was years ago. It's probably been 3+ years since we've done anything with them, but it was very successful. I think more on the operations side, we're looking for how to really speed things along using automation, in all of our operations more and more. So that's where we're investing. The chat bots, they're getting better and better, but I want to see them get better before we, adopt them more and more. So maybe they're getting closer. So we're more on the bleeding edge of that early on, and so probably a little worried about them making more progress. But I think they're doing some pretty good things, but mostly for us, AI is just in automating the back office operations and keeping things flowing. And we do have a little bit of it on the warranty side, which has been good. Making sure people are getting what they need and requests are moving faster.
That's great. Thank you. And we only have a couple minutes left because we actually did run long, and we'll jump into sales award. But Rick, you've been great. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Hi, I'm Rick Rodriguez with C9 Balloons. I think most of you hopefully know me by now. We provide the balloon decor and aerial sky spheres and temporary signage, which is what we call location marketing. And this is a great opportunity to get your opinions collectively. As you can imagine, last year when the closures first hit and the sales offices started closing, I had to sit there and think about how I can pivot as a company to still be able to accommodate and assist the builders with their location marketing. So the first thing that came to mind was putting the message of virtual tours or by appointment only on our sky spheres and still putting them 100 feet above the sales offices. And that seemed to work pretty well for some of our builder clients. But I just wanted to get your opinion, what else can we do as a location marketing company to accommodate the sales offices when I think virtual tours and by appointment only are still the norm right now. Maybe it's a rhetorical question, but I just want to know how else can we pivot to still be able to provide a great service and be effective at getting more foot traffic. At least if they get to the sales office and they see that the sign says make an appointment or virtual tours, we've still accomplished our goal. But I guess what other kind of changes are you doing or can you think of given the times and the closures and things of that nature?
Thanks, Rick. Let's toss that over to John real quick. And
Well, I think there's a couple different questions. What are we doing differently? I think one of the constant struggles is when we are trailblazing into new areas is the up-to-date, mapping, and clearly signage has dropped off in the marketplace as the preferred method. Everybody's, using Waze or digital or Google Maps. I would say put a beacon in your balloon and let's program it to the beacon.
love that.
Good idea.
Thinking outside the box for you, but
That's pretty brilliant.
That's awesome. Thanks, John. Anything you want to add, Dan?
That's way better than what I would have said. That's actually a really great idea, John. Rick, I think just calling attention to everything from inventory to, we still like to drive foot traffic to the sites with remote access into our standing inventory if we have any, or, into our models during off hours. Maybe lighting some things up and, drawing some creative attention to them when it's, getting dark out.
That's great, Dan. As our appointments go into 10 p.m., that's a really good point. So,
Actually, that's a great idea. We actually did a campaign in Las Vegas for KB Home several years ago where we put lights inside of the spheres, and we had so many people driving up to them because they thought it was the moon at first. And you know what? You guys actually gave me an idea. So we've done it before, but I hadn't thought about it. So I'm going to run with that, guys.
Thank you.
I'll be calling you and emailing you with pricing on that.
All right.
great.
Well, I told you we had brilliant minds, Rick. So
That's
I know
amazing.
we're a little short on time, so I think we're going to end there because I don't want to keep people too late. We're all zoomed out. So why don't I toss it over? Thank you so much, Nicole from Brookfield Residential, John from Taylor Morrison, and Dan from Williams Homes. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much. This group is really appreciative of your guys' time in this crazy market. I'm gonna switch it over to Ryan from TrueMark, who is going to be presenting Q4 sales awards for our awesome salespeople who are on the front lines, superintendents, customer care reps that are out there doing, facing the challenges of COVID every day. So Ryan, please take it over. Oh, wait, we have to unmute her. The universal Zoom issue. Can I unmute you, Ryan?
I just did.
Okay,
Oh,
great. I
perfect.
was like, I can't hit the button. I'm so sorry. Okay, give me 1 second. I will queue up the slideshow and we'll get started. Okay, can you see my screen?
We're good.
Okay. All right. Where's that? Okay. Well, hi everyone. I'm Ryan at TrueMark Homes. Welcome to the GSMC Sales Awards for Q4 of 2020. And to kick off the evening, I'm going to start with our top producers with representatives from Toll Brothers. We have Melody, Jeanne, and Joyce, Khalees, and Jennifer.
Great job.
And from New Home Company, we have Malia and Cece, Michael, Twanda, Kelly, Susan, Gilma, and Tim. Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations.
Now I'll move on to the judged categories for Sales Professionals and Team Awards. Our first judged category is for Rookie Sales Professional. Our rookie is a team player, naturally charismatic and warm, always the first to volunteer, and even offered to take out a hammer and jump in to help the construction team meet deadlines. Our nominee is full of respect for the industry and appreciation, and even respected by his senior partners and constantly trying to learn from them. Our rookie winner is Manny Bravo of Intracorp Homes, sold by Strategic Sales and Marketing at MDL in Irvine. Congrats, Manny. Next up, we have our sales professional selling product priced under 500,000. This nominee made a huge change in the first week with a community lagging in sales and created a surge in sales. Handled the community by themselves, sold against home in the same price range, but were bigger and was able to sell the value of homes design. And their alliance scores were 100%. The winner is Michael Wang of the New Home Company selling Nova at the resort. Next category is sales professional selling product price from 500,000 to 999,000. The nominee adapted quickly and safely during COVID, began using virtual tours and tools to make their buyers confident in their decision. And even though buyers thought the community was sold out, they were able to get buyers interested again. This nominee is dedicated and passionate about their work. And the winner is Shannon from Williams Homes at New Heights. Yay, Shannon. Next up, we have our sales professional selling product priced over $1 million. This nominee found their love and inspiration through their mother, who was in the business. They were forced out of their comfort zone, which made them stronger, more forward-thinking, creative, and a better salesperson. They got a drone involved and personally handled that to sell the community. They are proud to be an essential worker and love the real estate industry. They were even the spokesperson for our BIA Next Gen site tour event. This winner is Jane from Lancy Home at Cressley and Lake Forest. Moving on to our next category for the sales team, selling product price from 400,000 to 600,000. This team sold in the same value price range as bigger homes by showing value in their homes versus their competitors. They have a tenacious gift for connecting with people and overcame obstacles when it came to pricing. And the winning team is Malia and Cece from New Home Company, Parson at Bedford and Corona. Congratulations. Next up is our sales team selling product priced from 600,000 to 999,000. These nominees had no standing inventory or quick move-ins to work with. They were the perfect trifecta with great customer service. They were creative in coming up with a rate lock for buyers who had a long escrow time and worked well with construction teams. And the winning team is Rebecca, Shelley, and Manny from Intracorp, sold by Strategic Sales and Marketing at MDL and Irvine. Congrats, guys. Next is the sales team selling product priced over 1 million. This team had 2 communities several blocks away and overcame several obstacles. They had perseverance and determination. They used virtual tools and social media to sell their product. They had a higher price point for the area and a high price point to sell without models. They were resilient, innovative, and determined. This winning team is Melody and Joyce from Toll Brothers at Estancia and Enclave at Yorba Linda. Yay! Our next category recognizes our industry shining stars. These people who work alongside the sales professional and deserve to be recognized for their hard work. These nominees surpassed a conventional definition. They have a smooth team dynamic and contribute to everyone's continued success. They manage 2 sides of the business simultaneously, closing out 265 homes between 3 people. Our shining stars are Cece, Agusha, Alinda, Pamela, and Jason, the closing service team from Party Homes. So we just wanted to say thank you to everyone that participated in our program. We have Strategic Sales and Marketing, Williams Homes, Malia Homes, Toll Brothers, Party Homes, Intracorp, Lancy Homes, Signature Builder, the New Home Company, and Ultimate New Home Sales and Marketing. Thank you guys for submitting all of our nominees. And please save the date for our next GSMC event on March 10th, which is Soils to Sales. Soils to Sales is a new educational series hosted by GSMC that will highlight the different steps in our home building process, from acquisition to grading and foundations to the latest home designs and materials and tech innovations. This series will feature many different builders and trades in our industry as we cover the gamut between soils to sales. So keep that on your calendar. And as we talked about earlier, or at the very beginning of our call, save the date for our Q1 Sales Awards. This will be alongside our Atlas RTX conversation. So submissions are due April 15th, and our Q1 winners and honorees will be announced during our GSMC event May 12th. And visit the website for more information. And thank you for joining us this evening, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks,
Kaylee, I'll let you
Ryan.
wrap it up.
Thanks, Ryan, for all that. Congratulations to all the winners. Thank you for our speakers tonight. Thank you to our vendors, our builders, to everyone else. I wish we were in person doing a confetti canyon, but maybe that'll be this year. So with that, have a good night. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Kaylee. Great job.
Thanks, Kaylee. Thanks, guys.